You mentioned that you hit the glass ceiling. What was that for you, and how did that play out in your life?
Well, I think it's still there. There are cracks, but it was very noticeable in the music business. And one of the little stories, I think, which will illustrate it really well, is that I used to go out with a female horn section, a woman on trumpet, woman on trombone, and I was the saxophone player. Very often we would be rejected because we were not aggressive enough, or too aggressive, or not sexy, or too sexy, and it just was mind-blowing. You couldn't understand it. It was confusing. And one time we got a really good gig offered to us to play on a television show for a pop star. And so we went round to do the rehearsal. And the first thing he told us was we had to wear something like this, which was basically a piece of lingerie and high heel shoes. And we went, what? The high heel shoe will put our balance out. We can't breathe properly. You know, wearing a little tiny little thing is, you know,
Uncomfortable.
uncomfortable and awkward, and it might even come off, you know.
At least you've got the saxophone, it covers the most.
Yes, see. So we said, no, ridiculous. What do you mean? Don't we look good enough? Anyway, he refused to work with us, and we refused to work with him. And he was very insulting and said, you're too fat, you're too old, and you're too ugly. And don't ask me which one he said I was. And so we left. We walked out, but we were very curious to know who he would hire for the job, because it was going to be televised a couple of weeks later. So the three of us got round to my house one evening to watch the show. We were sitting there like this. Who did he replace us with, you know? And because very often what they do is they bring in female models who can't play the instrument but just hold it.
Oh, and pretend.
They mime it, yeah. How many times have you seen a woman on a saxophone and she's wearing a tiny bikini? Yeah. Anyway,
like Love Actually. Love Actually comes to mind.
Yeah, there were. So we watched the show, and who were the people who replaced us? But three men with beards and big pot bellies, and not one of them was wearing lingerie.
Thank the Lord for that.
You know? So it was like,
okay. Yeah, crazy.
Very
so
difficult.
That's what happened in the music industry.
Yeah,
I get it.
There was a lot of sabotage, and there was a lot of refusals, and oh, a girl saxophone player. No,
Yeah.
Very disheartening, very disappointing. And if you don't learn to stick your elbows out and be confident, courageous, and a little bit creative about things, then you're just not going to get the job.